If I Were a Lesbian, A Journey of Self-Discovery. Samantha sat on her bed, the afternoon sun streaming through the window, illuminating the stacks of books and scattered clothes around her. As she flipped through the pages of a novel, her mind wandered to the numerous conversations she had heard about love, relationships, and identity. She found herself reflecting on her journey, wondering how different life could be if she were a lesbian. What if she were a woman who loved another woman? The thought brought a smile to her face, contemplating the vibrant connection between two girls who shared not just experiences but also their bodies and emotions. Samantha imagined walking hand in hand with her partner in a park, both of them vibrant and confident. The scene played out vividly in her mind. They would share knowing glances filled with unspoken understanding. Would they both feel a sense of liberation, free from the expectations that often accompanied heterosexual relationships? In that moment, she realized that love has no boundaries, it simply thrives where it's nurtured. She pictured their intimate moments filled with laughter and vulnerability. Kissing would only be the beginning, it represented a deeper bond, an exploration of selves that went beyond the physical. She thought of the complexities of love, the way it could lift her spirit or break her heart. But in this imagined life, love felt less daunting, more fluid. She wouldn't have to worry about the societal pressures that often plagued her when dating men. Samantha chuckled as she envisioned the learning curve of embracing her femininity, of navigating the world in cute dresses and matching accessories with her partner. She thought about how liberating it would feel to shop together for intimate apparel without fear or shame, empowering each other in ways that society often shunned. Instead of competing for male attention, they would celebrate each other's uniqueness, reveling in the beauty of their individuality. In her musings, she acknowledged that it wouldn't always be easy, every relationship carries its weight. But there would be an undeniable strength in their bond. They would share their dreams, fears, and insecurities, unearthing a profound intimacy that transcends superficial connection. As evening fell, Samantha reflected on the challenges and triumphs of same-gender relationships. Society was gradually evolving, yet remnants of prejudice lingered. She realized that if she were a lesbian, finding acceptance might sometimes be a struggle. But embracing her truth would also mean forging a path illuminated by authenticity and courage. Samantha's thoughts returned to her own identity. Perhaps she was not a lesbian, but the journey of imagining that life helped unveil her understanding of love in all its forms. It taught her to embrace herself and others without boundaries, and to appreciate the different ways people connect. In that moment of self-reflection, Samantha knew that love, whether between a man and a woman or two women, remained a powerful force in this world, a universal truth that united all. With those thoughts swirling in her mind, she picked up her pen and began to write, eager to share her story and the stories of those around her, capturing the essence of love in its many beautiful forms. Samantha poured her thoughts onto the page, crafting a narrative that wove together her imaginings and the realities she observed in the lives of others. She felt a surge of inspiration, recalling friends who had bravely stepped into their truths, each with their own stories of love, acceptance, and the challenges they faced. One friend in particular, Mia, stood out in her mind. Mia had come out during their senior year of high school, her vibrant personality marking her as a beacon of authenticity among their peers. Samantha had admired Mia's courage, the way she navigated a world that often seemed indifferent or even hostile to her identity. Their friendship deepened as Mia opened up about her experiences dating women, the thrill of going on dates that felt right and real, punctuated by the intimate moments that Samantha had often dreamed about. "What's it like?" Samantha had asked her one afternoon, sitting cross-legged on her bed, surrounded by the scattered remnants of their teenage years, posters, stuffed animals, and remnants of a life spent dreaming. Mia paused, a thoughtful expression crossing her face. "It's honestly beautiful," she said, her voice warm and inviting. "There's a freedom in knowing that I can love who I want without hiding. I get to be authentically me. And in those moments of vulnerability, there's something so empowering about sharing that with someone who understands." Samantha found herself captivated. There was a glow in Mia's cheeks as she spoke, a spark of joy that made her realize how transformative love could be when met with acceptance and understanding. As she continued to write, Samantha found herself drawing more from her own experiences. She wrote about that crush she had on Sarah, the girl from her art class who always wore mismatched socks and painted with reckless abandon. The way Sarah's laughter filled the room and how Samantha's heart raced each time their hands almost touched as they reached for the same paintbrush. But even as she identified those feelings, she hesitated. What did it mean? Did she want to explore those feelings further? Samantha began to explore her own identity through her writing, allowing her thoughts to flow freely as she grappled with the nuances of sexuality and love. She wrote about the frailty of first crushes, the thrill of a shared look, the beauty of what could be if she were brave enough to pursue her feelings beyond the boundaries she had built for herself. The days began to blend into weeks, and the more Samantha wrote, the more she found her voice. She started to connect with an online community, one that celebrated LGBTQ+ stories in all their forms. These diverse narratives helped her understand the complexities of love, the joy, the heartbreak, the resilience required to embrace one's true self in a world that often demanded conformity. One evening, while perusing an LGBTQ+ forum, she came across a post titled, "Coming Out Stories." She clicked on it, eager to see the different journeys people had taken. As she read through the entries, a sense of solidarity washed over her. Each story was a testament to love conquering adversity, heartbreak transforming into strength, and the universal quest for acceptance. Samantha paused, considering her own narrative within this vast tapestry. What would her story be? How would she express the nuances of her feelings, the dreams she harbored? I may not know exactly where I fit yet, she thought, but I do know this: love is powerful. And with that realization, she felt a shift, a sense of purpose forming as she envisioned her story taking shape, not just as a memoir of self-exploration, but as a celebration of all the ways love manifests. With renewed fervor, Samantha turned to her laptop. Her fingers flew across the keys as she poured her heart into her writing, reveling in the beauty of language and the power it had to connect people. She crafted characters inspired by the experiences of her friends and those she had read about, weaving narratives that highlighted the richness of diverse love stories and the importance of embracing one's identity. As she wrote, she knew she wanted to contribute to the broader conversation about LGBTQ+ life, showcasing the joys and tribulations that came with authentic love. She envisioned a collection of stories, tales of self-discovery and connection that would encourage others to explore their own truths. By the time nighttime fell, Samantha leaned back in her chair, a sense of fulfillment washing over her. The words on the screen felt like a stepping stone into uncharted territories of her heart. Perhaps she didn't have all the answers yet, but she was ready to embrace the journey, her journey. In that moment, Samantha realized that exploring the possibility of being a lesbian didn't diminish her identity, it enriched it. It opened the door to new experiences, conversations, and relationships that held the potential to reshape her understanding of love and connection. As she drifted off to sleep that night, surrounded by the soft glow of her desk lamp, Samantha dreamed of beaches at sunset, where laughter mingled with the sound of waves, and love blossomed in its many forms. She felt a sense of excitement for the possibilities that lay ahead and for the stories yet to be told. As the weeks turned into months, Samantha's writing evolved, becoming not just a personal exploration but a mission to amplify the voices around her. She gathered stories from her friends, including Mia, whose journey of self-discovery inspired her deeply. Each character she created was infused with pieces of real lives, real heartbreaks, and genuine joy, reflecting the beautiful spectrum of love she had come to admire. Samantha decided to compile these narratives into a collection titled Love in Color. She envisioned it as a celebration of LGBT+ love stories, filled with authenticity and heart. Each chapter would explore different themes: coming out, first loves, heartbreak, family acceptance, and the empowering journey of self-acceptance in a world that often fails to embrace diversity. One evening, as she sat at her desk, the soft light illuminating her laptop, Mia called her. "Hey, Samantha. You won't believe this, I just got a message from someone I barely know, saying how much my story helped them. It made my day." Samantha's heart swelled with warmth. "That's amazing. Your story has the power to reach so many people." It's inspiring to think about how sharing our experiences can make a difference. Encouraged by Mia's success, Samantha decided to share her own journey as part of the collection. She wrote an essay chronicling her internal struggles, the joy of discovering a vibrant part of herself, and the fear that initially held her back. The essay was titled Finding Myself in the Spectrum of Love, a piece where vulnerability intertwined with strength. She submitted the collection to various publishers, her nerves tingling with anticipation. And then, after weeks of waiting, she received a message that turned her world upside down. Love in Color had been accepted for publication. As the launch date approached, Samantha could hardly contain her excitement, but she also felt a wave of anxiety. What if readers didn't connect with her writing? What if her truth was dismissed? She quickly reminded herself, though, that these stories were not just for her. They were for everyone who felt unseen, isolated, and alone. The stories would resonate with those who longed for connection and affirmation. When the day finally arrived, she stood nervously at the front of a small bookstore, flanked by shelves of books, with her heart racing. An inconspicuous sign read, Book Launch, Love in Color by Samantha Monroe. Friends, family, and even strangers began to fill the seats, their excited chatter creating a buzz of energy in the room. Samantha took a deep breath as she stepped up to the microphone. "Thank you all for coming," she began, her voice steadying as she spotted familiar faces in the crowd. "I started this journey by imagining what it would be like to step into the shoes of a lesbian, to explore love in a way that felt both foreign and profoundly beautiful to me. But in the end, it became much more than that. It was about all of us finding our truth." She read selected pieces from the book, her words flowing with emotion. The room was silent, save for the sound of her voice and the occasional hushed sniffle as listeners resonated with her heartfelt stories. Afterward, she opened the floor for questions. Each response was laced with warmth, laughter, and vulnerability as people shared their own experiences, igniting conversations that filled the air with hope and understanding. Mia stood in the audience, a proud smile on her face. She could see how Samantha's exploration had blossomed into something transformative, not just for herself, but for everyone around her. By the end of the evening, people approached Samantha, thanking her for sharing their stories and encouraging them to embrace their identities. Each interaction reaffirmed her belief in the power of storytelling. As she closed the event with a cheerful gathering at a local cafe, surrounded by friends and fellow attendees, she felt an overwhelming sense of belonging. She was no longer just imagining what it would be like to love a woman, she became part of a vibrant community that celebrated love in all its forms. In the weeks that followed, the book gained traction, sparking conversations and connections far beyond what Samantha had imagined. Social media lit up with readers sharing their favorite quotes and posting reflections on their journeys to self-acceptance. Stories of people reaching out to each other because of Samantha's words echoed in her heart, a symphony of love woven through diversity. Samantha took the time to nurture these connections, hosting workshops and community discussions where individuals could share their stories openly. Each gathering pushed against the societal norms that once made her feel isolated, transforming them into spaces of refuge and encouragement. In the end, she learned that being a part of the LGBTQ+ community went beyond identity. It was about the shared experience of love, acceptance, and the celebration of all it means to be human. The thread that tied these narratives together wasn't just about discovering oneself, but about embracing the journey, together. As she reflected on her own experiences, Samantha realized that she didn't have to categorize herself strictly as a lesbian, a straight woman, or anything else. Rather, she could simply be Samantha, a woman who loved deeply and believed in the power of love, in all of its colors. With a heart full of gratitude, she looked ahead. There were more stories to tell, more lives to touch, and countless ways to spread love. And in this vibrant world of possibility, she knew her journey had only just begun.